Have you ever noticed how some people just seem to speak English effortlessly? They're chatting away, laughing,
Mm-hmm.
no awkward pauses while they, translate in their head.
Mm-hmm.
It just flows, almost like it's coming straight from their thoughts.
It really does seem like that sometimes. And what's so interesting and often missed is that the secret isn't really some hidden talent, not usually anyway.
Right.
It's more about a fundamental kind of intentional rewiring. It's about how these folks have managed to sidestep the brain's usual translation buffer.
Yeah.
They've built a more direct path for English.
Ah, okay. So that bypass, that direct path, that's really where the magic happens. And that's exactly what we want to dive into today.
Exactly.
Our mission here is to unpack some practical, real ways you can train your brain to think directly in English. And this isn't just for people who are already fluent, right?
Yeah.
This is for anyone.
Absolutely anyone. It's a total game changer if you want to cut out that extra mental step. You end up with, well, faster responses, fewer mistakes, and your speech just sounds much more natural.
Yeah, makes sense. And for this deep dive, we've gathered insights from language acquisition research, looking at how direct thought really works.
And if you think about the core idea, it's actually quite elegant. You're basically eliminating the middleman in your head.
Like cutting out a step.
Precisely. Imagine your brain's language processing like traffic. A lot of learners take this detour, think a native language, translate it, then speak English.
Right, I do that sometimes.
We all start there, but what we're aiming for is building a direct, like high-speed lane just for English, skipping that whole translation traffic jam.
Okay, building that direct lane. So what are the immediate benefits? I mean, beyond just sounding a bit quicker, how does it actually feel different when you communicate?
Oh, it feels very different. The speed boost is obvious, yeah. Less hesitation. But it's more than speed. It really opens the door to using idiomatic expressions.
The tricky ones.
Yeah, those casual phrases, bits of humor, things that just get completely mangled or lost if you try a word-for-word translation. It lets you sound genuinely, natural, not just correct.
Okay, speed and naturalness, those are big ones. But you mentioned it goes deeper. Like something happens internally that helps you understand the language better overall.
Yes, and that's where the real breakthrough often lies. Thinking directly in English means your brain starts processing the language as a whole system, not just like a list of vocabulary words.
A system, how so?
You start to pick up on the music of English, the rhythm, the intonations, sentence patterns, stuff that's really hard to grasp if you're always translating back and forth. Your brain isn't tied up doing those mental gymnastics. It's free to just absorb how words fit together, the context, even the feeling behind certain phrases. It's like, well, learning to ride a bike by doing it, not just reading the manual.
That makes sense. And I guess when you're absorbing things that way, feeling the system, it naturally builds confidence too.
Definitely. Because if you've been practicing those thoughts internally, the words just come more easily when you need them. That fear, the fear of making a mistake, it starts to shrink. You feel more ready.
Right. But if it's so good, and the concept seemed fairly straightforward, like, why isn't everyone doing this? There must be some hurdles, some common myths holding people back.
Oh, absolutely. There are some really pervasive misconceptions that act as major mental blocks for learners.
Okay, let's tackle those. I bet the biggest one is, only advanced learners can do this. People think you need like perfect grammar and a massive vocabulary first. Is that true?
That's probably the number one myth, yeah. And it's just not true. Our sources are clear. You don't need to be some kind of English expert to start.
Really?
Really, even if you only know basic stuff like I'm hungry or good morning. The key is to practice thinking that directly in English instead of thinking it in your language and then translating. Start small wherever you are.
Okay, that's a relief. So start simple. What about the idea that you have to live in an English-speaking country? Full immersion or nothing.
Another huge myth. Look, full immersion is great. It definitely helps speed things up, no doubt, but it is absolutely not a requirement.
So what can you do if you're not living abroad?
You create your own English bubble. You can consciously choose English videos, podcasts, music, even simple things like putting labels on things in your house. You build your own little micro-immersion world right where you are.
Labeling things.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come back to that. Okay, what about mistakes? People worry, right? Like, if I'm thinking wrong thoughts in English, am I just practicing errors? Especially if no one corrects my internal monologue.
That's a valid concern, for sure. But the consensus is pretty clear. Mistakes, even the ones just in your head, are totally normal. They're actually a necessary part of learning.
So don't stress about internal perfection.
Exactly. The goal is practice, not perfection. Think of it like a rough draft. Those errors are chances to learn, not failures. Honestly, overthinking and trying to be perfect in your head can slow you down way more than making a few mental mistakes.
Okay, good advice. No need for a Pulitzer Prize-winning inner voice.
Got it.
And the last big one, the fear that thinking in English will make me forget my native language. That sounds genuinely scary for some people.
It does sound alarming, doesn't it? But scientifically, it's just false. Your brain is incredible. It can handle multiple languages easily. One doesn't push the other out.
If anything, it helps.
Exactly. Thinking in English can actually sharpen your overall language abilities. It makes switching between languages smoother. It's like adding a new app to your phone, not deleting an old one.
Okay, good. So we've seen why it's powerful. We've busted some myths. Now, the big question, how do you actually start? What's the first, maybe easiest thing someone can do, like today?
Right, let's get practical. Start super simple. Change your environment just a tiny bit. Grab some sticky notes.
Sticky notes.
Yeah. And label everyday things around your house, right? Chair, mirror, desk, window, whatever. Seeing those English words constantly creates a direct link in your brain. Visual input straight to English, bypassing translation. It's like laying the first bricks for that direct highway.
I love that.
Yeah.
So simple, so visual. Okay, sticky notes are up. What's a daily habit you can build on that?
Narrate your day. Internally, of course.
And talk to yourself in your head?
Pretty much. But specifically about what you're doing. As you do things, just think the sentence in English, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm making coffee, I'm walking to the bus stop.
Okay.
It gets you forming simple English sentences constantly, but with zero pressure. It's like this ongoing low-stakes practice session running in the background.
I can see how that builds momentum.
Yeah.
And if you're already narrating, maybe take it a step further, like having little conversations with yourself. Might feel weird, but internally, who's going to know?
Exactly. It might feel a bit strange at first, but it's such effective low-pressure practice. You see a nice car, maybe think, wow, that car is fast. I wonder what kind it is. Or deciding on dinner, pasta sounds good, but maybe salad is healthier. These tiny internal chats help you practice stringing thoughts together without any judgment. It's just pure practice.
Okay, but for these narrations and conversations, you need the words, right? How do you build vocabulary specifically for this internal use?
Great point. And that's where tools like flashcards or language learning apps are still really useful. But here's the key twist for thinking in English.
Yeah.
Don't just learn the new word. Immediately try to use it in your thoughts. So if you learn the word delicious, the very next time you have something tasty, consciously think, this coffee is delicious.
So you integrate it right away into that internal world.
Exactly. Make it active, not passive knowledge.
That's smart. And what about writing? Does journaling help train this thinking process too?
Oh, definitely. Even if it's just a couple of sentences each day about what happened or how you're feeling, it forces your brain to structure thoughts directly in English. Plus, bonus, it improves your writing skills at the same time. It's a double win.
Right. And many of us already watch English movies, listen to music or podcasts. How do we make that passive listening more active for thinking practice?
It's all about shifting from just consuming to engaging mentally. While watching a movie, pause mentally and ask yourself, okay, what would I say here? Or if you hear an interesting phrase, think, what does that actually mean? How could I use that?
Active engagement.
Yeah. And with music, don't just hum along. Yeah. Really listen to the lyrics. Try singing along, great for pronunciation, by the way, and process the meaning in real time. Yeah. It turns your entertainment into a really powerful learning tool.
Okay. Now, for listeners who might be a bit further along, maybe intermediate or advanced, wanting to really push their fluency, there's something called shadowing, right? What's that about?
Shadowing is quite intense, but very effective for more advanced learners. Basically, you listen to someone speaking English, say, from a podcast or an audiobook, and you repeat what they're saying in real time, like an echo, just slightly behind them. You try to copy everything, their words, their rhythm, their intonation, their pronunciation.
Wow, that sounds challenging.
It is. But it's incredible training for thinking fast in English and getting that connection smooth between listening, processing, and speaking. Really builds fluency.
Okay, so lots of techniques.
Yeah.
But learning isn't always smooth sailing. What happens when you're trying to think in English, maybe narrating your day, and you just get stuck? Can't find the word you need.
That happens all the time. The key is, don't let it stop you. Just simplify. If you can't think of the word exhausted, just think, I'm very tired.
Find an easier way to say it.
Exactly. Keep the flow going. Don't get bogged down searching for the perfect word inside your head. Just use what you have and keep the English thoughts moving.
Good tip. And what about that inner critic? People might overthink, even internally, trying to make every thought grammatically perfect. How do you shut that down?
You have to remind yourself constantly. Your internal thoughts don't need an A+ grade. Mistakes are fine, they're expected. Stressing about perfect grammar in your head will just stifle the whole process. Let it be messy, especially at first. Just let yourself think.
Right, let go of the perfectionism. And just quickly revisiting the fear of losing your native language, any final reassurance on that?
Just to reiterate, it's a myth. Your brain is built for multilingualism. Learning to think in English enhances your cognitive flexibility. It doesn't delete your first language. It actually makes you better at switching between them.
Okay. And the classic problem, I don't have time. Everyone's busy. How do you fit this in?
Well, the great thing about thinking is you don't need to schedule extra time. You weave it into the cracks of your day.
Like,
While you're commuting, waiting in line, washing dishes, cooking, any of those moments where your mind might wander anyway. Just consciously switch your internal track to English for a few minutes. Those little bits add up tremendously.
so it doesn't have to be this big scheduled study session.
Not at all. Integration, not addition.
Which really brings us to the crucial point, doesn't it? The real secret ingredient.
Consistency. It's always consistency, isn't it?
Yep.
It's far, far better to think in English for just 5 minutes every single day than to try and do a marathon 2-hour session once a month. Set tiny, achievable goals and just stick with them. Daily practice compounds.
That's so true. Let's make this really concrete with some examples. I remember you telling me about a friend from Brazil.
Yes, she's a great story. She really struggled at first, always translating everything. So she started incredibly small, writing her shopping list in English. That was it initially.
Just the shopping list.
Yep. Then she added narrating simple things like, I'm making coffee, I'm feeding the cat, really basic stuff. But she did it consistently. And slowly, gradually, those English thoughts started popping up automatically. Now, she speaks so easily, so fluently. It just shows how those tiny steps build up.
That's fantastic. From a shopping list to fluency. And wasn't there another story, but a factory worker in India?
Yes, also very inspiring. He needed better English for promotion, so his strategy was to narrate his workday internally.
Like while he was working?
Exactly. He'd think, I'm packing this box now, I need to check the machine, okay, cleaning this section. Super practical, directly related to his job, and it worked. He became fluent, got the promotion, and now he's a manager using English every day. He directly credits that consistent internal practice.
Wow. That shows how targeted practice can have huge real-world results.
Definitely.
So for anyone listening who feels a bit stuck or maybe discouraged, just remember these stories. Everyone starts somewhere. Everyone faces hurdles.
Absolutely. The key is just keep going, be consistent, notice the small wins, celebrate them. Thinking in English might feel really awkward or difficult at the start, but trust the process. With time, with that steady practice, it really will become second nature. You're definitely not alone in this.
That's right. It boils down to practice, patience, and persistence. Keep at it, stay positive, and eventually you'll find yourself navigating that direct English highway in your mind without even thinking about it.
Well said. Hopefully this deep dive has offered some useful insights and, more importantly, some concrete things you can try starting today.
So let's leave everyone with one final thought to chew on. What's one single, tiny, consistent step you can take today, right now, in your own environment, to start training your brain to think directly in English?